So, how do we stay positive as business owners when an employee decides to call out last minute and we have a full productive day ahead of us and we are simply stuck thinking, now what do I do? I saw this post recently and I decided to make a video to connect with you guys and share a little bit about my experience having been through this situation, both as an employee, as an office manager, and most recently as a business owner. Some of the tips and strategies that I've implemented that have worked and the ones that haven't worked, so that hopefully when you are put in this position or placed in this position of like, oh my gosh, I had a fully scheduled day and now one of my main employees has decided to call out. The first and most important thing is not to personalize this thing and let it affect you, because when how you perceive the situation is going to take precedence over how your day is going to be for the remainder of the day, and it's going to affect your other employees and it's going to also translate onto the patients. So what are some strategies and things that I have done and seen in the past that has worked? So the first thing is, that I always stress to all of my clients, myself included, as business owners, we have the responsibility of having an overall understanding of how everything works in our business, in our dental practices. What do I mean by that? You should be able to understand how to check in your patients, how to check them out as far as front desk is concerned. You should also be able to have clinically have materials and tools at your disposal if this is your clinical team that it's not available to come into the practice. So as much as we want to operate as CEOs for our businesses, sometimes we have to wear different hats. Sometimes we're delegating, sometimes we're working on building the business, and sometimes we're working on stabilizing our businesses. And so at times when we're short staffed, it is going to be the time that we need to jump into the operations. The advantage, which comes at the disadvantage of having this employee decide last minute to not show up to work, or for whatever reasons they might have gotten sick, whatever the reason is, you're going to release judgment to focus on what is in front of you right now, because again, you owe it to yourself, you owe it to your other employees, and you owe it to your patients, to be able to still carry out as if this individual is not dispensable in the practice. So the first thing that you do is you need to wear the operator hat, which is, if it's a front desk person that was out sick this morning and they cannot make it, just go through the first batch of patients of the day, see and make sure that they have been confirmed, that they have, if your business model is a business model that incorporates participation with dental insurances, make sure that they have had their insurance verification done. This is where it is important for you as the visionary to be able to have the right people in place, to also have the right um, data in terms of numbers and production and things like that, and the right training and systems, right? So by having the systems in place, you would have had a checklist that will show you that verification has taken place, right? This is as far as the front desk is concerned. Now, if it's a clinical staff member, then you would have your setups and your cassettes and things set up from the night before, to be able to facilitate you having the instruments readily available for you. If you're joining me live, please let me know where you're watching from and who you are, so that I can say hello. Make sure that my audio is working okay, because I'm using this third party tool. But in any event, I'm just making this recording in the hopes that people will come in and watch it later. So again, when we have an employee not show up to work or call out at the last minute, it is extremely important that we release all of the judgment, because we need to focus on what is important and what is in front of us. So ideally, you would have systems in place for the front desk, checklists, and patients. At least the first batch of patients for the day have been confirmed. Print out a piece of paper or a sign or anything that says, we are, unfortunately, we had an employee call, we had an emergency today. So please be patient with us as you come in. Know that we're here. We may not be, someone may not be able to greet you here, but we'll come out, and things are going to continue to run as usual. Okay, so you create your strategy there for how you're going to let the patients know if there's no one sitting at the front desk. Set up your answering message so that you can check those messages temporarily. Try not to stress yourself out because energy is contagious, and your front team may resent you having placing judgment on this individual as you're working. So the other thing that I want to make sure you don't do is to maintain communication with this individual throughout the day. The times that I did this as an office manager, it was so frustrating for me. Every time I would have an employee call out and they're on my cell phone texting me, Maritza, I'm on this and I'm doing that, and so on and so forth. Once the employee decides, I'm not gonna be able to make it today, just let me know. Yes or no, are you coming? Can I expect you? No. Okay. I'm gonna wear my operating hat, make sure that I have all of the pieces of the puzzle in place, administrative wise and clinical wise, making sure that I'm going to be that I'm going to be okay. So the other aspect of it is you want to make sure that this is a great opportunity for you to know if your team has been properly cross trained. That was one of the biggest thing for me. Everyone that has ever worked for me, I've had some of my, later employees that transition out, they tell me, Maritza, I hated it when I used to work for you. And you used to tell me that I had to answer the phones or learn about insurances when I just wanted to be in the back, or vice versa. I would hire someone with no previous dental experience and they would have a front desk administrative position. And I will ask them, let's do the setups, let's run the autoclave, learn how to do this, because there are emergencies that do arise in the dental practice and everyone should be able to be cross-trained. So this is going to be an opportunity. How you perceive this last minute call for calling out is going to make or break your day. And as the business owner, no one is out there to save your business. You have to save your business yourself. So this is, again, this employee is your teacher. You need to check and make sure that, one, you have an overall understanding of how you run your business and the aspects of the front desk, the aspect of the clinical team, have your isolite, whatever it is, if it's a clinical staff member. Number two, make sure that not only you, but your front, like your team is cross-trained, that the people at the front can easily transfer the lines or leave the answering machine to come to the back to help with the setup, to bring patients in, to bring patients out. Ideally, there are certain states that don't require for you to have a X-ray license to expose patients to X-rays. I used to do a lot of exposure of X-rays when I would have a patient waiting for too long because we were running behind schedule for whatever reason, or when we were short staffed, I would bring in the patient, make sure that the patients were set up, the X-rays were done, and the setup was done in the room based on the procedure. So again, having a front desk person that is morally committed, which is my third tip for today, is making sure that your team is morally committed to you. And they're going to be morally committed to you based on how you react to situations that put you under pressure. So this is a definitely something that is going to put you under pressure, and how you shine from this, or how you react to this, is going to change how your team perceives you and be more involved and take more ownership if they see you taking more ownership. But if instead you're pointing the finger and you're blaming that person, the morale of the person that it's at the office is going to be, they're going to resent that other individual, or they're going to resent you, because if there is a genuine reason why this other employee needed to call out, and they don't feel that you are supportive of them getting sick, it creates an, like a disharmony that is unnecessary. So what I want you to do, and what I used to do and what I currently do myself, when I do have these emergencies arise with my team members, is I look at my day and I said, okay, let me organize my schedule. Or when I was an office manager, okay, we are missing someone at the front, or we're missing someone at the back. Today I was supposed to work on this, to work on the business rather than in the business, but I'm going to put that aside and focus on what is needed for me today, whether that would be administrative tasks or clinical things to make sure that they had the support that they needed wherever it was. So being cross-trained was extremely helpful in this situation, and having those systems in place, both for the clinical team checklists where they look at the schedule for the following day and they start working towards the the setups or the number of patients and the cases, the lab cases, making sure that everything is organized for the first batch of the day, and vice versa for the front admin team, that they knew, that the patients were financially cleared to be seen, so that there are no surprises. And you just have to stick to whatever their verification for that, dates of for that particular date of service was, to avoid any surprises for the patients or for you financially when the billing gets done and things of that nature. Connect with your patients and connect with your team. Release any judgment or stressful conversations throughout the day with the missing employee, because it is just not going to allow you to focus. You handle it later. So one of the good things that I've been great at is, like, I go out missing. When someone called me and said, Maritza, I cannot make it to work today, they wouldn't know if I was dying. They wouldn't know if I was excited. They wouldn't know if I was crying inside, or all stressed out, or if we had to shut down the office because of them not being at work. I used to take charge. I used to stay present, and I used to avoid any communication with that individual. At the end of the day, I would say, how was it? Was everything okay with you? Are you going to be able to come in tomorrow? Right? I would handle them later on when my day was over. And for the team that was with me there for the day, I used to find ways to make sure that I made their jobs and their time there less impactful by missing this other employee. So things that I used to do was order lunch for everyone. So we may have to skip through lunch. So what I'm going to do is, where does everyone want to eat from, to make sure that we have it delivered by this time, which is going to be our gap or our break on our schedule, to facilitate everyone not feeling the burden of having to run out of, behind schedule, and then having just to get a bite. And there were times that I would be the one assisting the doctors to allow for my front desk person or my clinical person to take their lunch break, and then, or vice versa, I would get them so morally committed to just making sure that the day went by smooth, that they would sit at the front and say, Maritza, I'll watch the phone, so go get go get something to eat, and in the cafeteria or what have you. So it's creating this sense of, something came up today, but we still got this. We have each other, the best, we have the patient's best interest at heart, and we are a supportive team. So this person is missing, but we are going to get through this. And at the end, it's going to be as if we had a full team. Yes, it's going to be difficult, but you're going to get through it. And what the message that is going to send that individual who didn't come in, perhaps they had a genuine reason for not being able to make it to work today, and they may be so embarrassed and stressed out for not being there. So when they do come back to work, or when you do communicate with them and they ask about how was the day without me, you can say, well, it was, it would have been better if you were there, but we managed to get through. And thank you for, again, doing, whatever preparedness might have taken place the day before that helped you at least manage and get started on the right foot on that particular day. So be able to show some gratitude for their contribution to making it easier for you in terms of systems that they might have implemented that made it easier for you to manage them not being there. So you want to thank them for that. And also just, also send them the message that you are, we are happy to have you, but the world still continues without you. Like, no one is written in stone that they have to be there. Last thought is, I remember I had a meeting at the NYU with the business team, and the I think the head of the business department was sharing with us, like, a situation that they were experiencing, inefficiencies and a lot of issues with their sterilization department, and they were doing a lot of overtime and so on and so forth. And he said, like, there was a time where I literally decided to just stay with them, and he stayed with the sterilization lab team until midnight to see exactly what it was that they had to go through in order to meet those deadlines, and the reason why there was, like, a lot of overtime to figure out those inefficiencies. And so a lot of times the message that he shared that I want to share and leave you with is, a lot of times things happen for us, not to us, so that we can understand what it is in our business that it's like the weakest link, and that little chain that if you don't adjust it, you need to pay attention to. And this may be, like I said, a genuine person that may be requesting time off, or it could be an issue with this particular employee that you may need to address if there is a if there's a pattern to them not showing up. But again, you're sending the message, hey, we can manage without you. We will it runs smoother with you here, but life continues. And that's how I want you to look at your business, that your business is a vehicle for your growth and everybody else's growth. And a lot of times people get into the vehicle and leave the vehicle, but you know where you're going. And if you have set the right vision for your team, if you've hired the right people to support you, if you understand the operations and your numbers and things like that, if you have the right training and development in place and you're cross training your staff, and you also have systems in place, you're going to be able to overcome this and every other challenge that arises as business owners. I'm strongly a strong believer that these are the five pillars of, success in a business. And everything that we do in our business is somehow linked to one of these five, key areas of business profitability and success. So with that, I hope that this video you found helpful and useful. If you did, let me know in the comments. Also, I'd love to hear what are some of the things that you might be doing in your business. Like, what strategies and things have you implemented when you have found yourself in a situation where an employee doesn't show up, and you've managed to get through, deliver to the patients, get those, like those. This is a great opportunity also for getting those whatever was the word I'm looking for the reviews, right? Like, we managed to give you still a great experience, so give us, like, a review. Make that sign. Connecting, it's better than communicating. And so I want you to take this time to connect with your employees, the rest of them that are there. Be mindful of how you are expressing your frustration. Connect with your patients. Release any judgment for the time being and handle that employee later, because if you get into this back and forth throughout the day, those are the things that used to get me, like venting and expressing. And then our employees are like sponges, are like our children, and they get they either feel that we are good leaders or not, depending on how we respond when we are under stress. So take this stressful situation as a teacher, rather than as kind of like a challenge, that it's meant to lower your production or your level of energy. The person in front of you is your teacher, I've learned, and this is a great lesson for you to be able to improve later on. Again, if you like this video, let me know in the comments. Make sure that you follow me on my Facebook group, on my YouTube channel. And if you are an associate dentist looking to start a practice and you don't want to be part of the statistics that I'm seeing now of people just, 2 years into their practices not being profitable and barely breaking even, we have been very successful by getting our clients to break even within 3 months, leave their associate positions within 6 months, be able to hire additional team members, long-term members over time, getting the people properly trained, cross-trained, so that there are no issues as you are trying to get your office off the ground and scaling, right? So we want to make sure that our clients are like from breaking ground to breaking $1 million in revenue as first-time business owners. So thank you so much for watching this. I hope that you have a very productive and fun week ahead. Until next time.